again and again, no mercy shown, their hearts so cold, denying the truth our fathers told. But we remember, we never forget, the battle's not over, not finished yet. It's not just a war with sword and shield, but a fight for truth we cannot yield. Hold your ground, feel the weight of destiny. We fight Amalek, we fight their lies. They try to cool what never dies. The fear of HaShem they try to erase, but we stand strong, we hold our place. It's not just a nation, it's a way. The fight starts every day, but with His truth we'll stand tall until HaShem defeats them all. Amalek lives in
Get the music on our music channel. It's called Teshuva Music. It's also on Spotify, iTunes, kosher music. That's fun too.
They try to hide those who reject Yerushalayim, spread their doubts like waves climbing. But we rise up with Torah's light to fight their darkness.
Just 30 seconds.
Stand ready, the truth is our weapon. We fight Amalek, we fight their lies. They try to cool what never dies. The fear of HaShem they try to erase, but we stand strong, we hold our place.
B'Shem Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach, Shiur Torah, Bruchim Habayim. We are back here on our Wednesday night, Stump the Rabbi, where after some Divrei Torah, B'ezrat Hashem, you guys will ask some questions, and B'ezrat Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the answers. Tonight's Shiur is going to be for the Refuah Shlema, Tzlacha Rabbah, and Big Mazal Tov to Rabbi Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, for Rabbanit Levana bat Sarah, Sarah bat Levana, Avimori David ben Esriya, Imimorti Doris bat Jora, and all of Am Yisrael and all the righteous Noahites that continue to learn with us, continue to support anyone that wants to help us, help poor families in Eretz Yisrael for this upcoming holiday of Shavuot, can donate on the campaign, the Shavuot campaign that we have. We need to raise as much money as possible so we can help as many families as possible. Also, extraordinary, amazing, unbelievable news, which is, as we spoke about, as we promised, Baruch Hashem, Mazal Tov to Irgun Be'ezrat Hashem, to fight the fight of Amalek, to fight Amalek, where today, officially, the book, Baruch Hashem, Chaval Shabbat La'olam, too bad that you came to the world, is in the Kiruv store for you guys to order, to distribute, literally in every possible community within your vicinity. The book is in the store. We just released it. Each box comes with 32 copies. It's free. We even pay for the shipping as long as it's in the States. Rabotai Karim, this book is the fight against Amalek, the heresy of Manis Friedman and all of his followers. We even heard one of Gedolei Israel, Rav Shol, today say that anyone that says that Hashem needs you is 100% a heretic. And it's unbelievable that, unfortunately, there are countless Jews and non-Jews around the world that are unaware that this guy that calls himself the most popular rabbi on YouTube is actually a apikolos, a heretic. So this book is indisputable proof. While everybody could say whatever they want to say, agree or disagree with all the things that we've said over the last several years, we've fought against the heresy of Manis Friedman and his followers. No one can dispute the writings that are in this book. This is the Torah way. This is the way that, Baruch Hashem, you could see how every single line in this guy's book that he wrote, which he called "I didn't ask to come to the world." Lo bikashti lavo la'olam. Every line is analyzed. Countless videos and speeches are analyzed, and they're compared to the halacha. They're compared to the writings and the speeches of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. They're compared to Gdolei Israel, and you see literally, without a shadow of a doubt, that Manis Friedman is a heretic, like we've said countless times over the years. But this book is going to eliminate any doubt anybody has. It's only in Hebrew, Baruch Hashem. So please, get this book to your community. Give it to your rabbi. Give it to the members of the Keilah. Give it to your neighbor. Give it to everybody you possibly can to warn them from this clear and apparent danger that it's in plain sight. Because unfortunately, many people look at the exterior and think that that means that the interior is good. And the reality is it's quite the opposite in this case. And Baruch Hashem, this is years in the making, and now it's available and it's free. You can get a box of 32 books to distribute in your community. If you want to distribute more, by all means, let us know. And B'ezrat Hashem will do whatever we can. First come, first served. There are tens of thousands of copies that are going to be distributed in Israel, in America, and B'ezrat Hashem in other places. Also, in addition to that, Baruch Hashem, we also have a newly developed Tikkun Abrit / AI Rabbi package. Comes like this, about 12 kilos, a little heavy. Opens up just like this, Rabotai. You want to do kiruv in your community, you want to save thousands of neshamot, you get one of these boxes. Again, free. Gives you one of these displays. It's in a plastic. You put it on the counter in your shul, in your kosher supermarket, Judaica store, wherever there's Jews, yeshiva. You put it on the counter somewhere. Let people take the cards. Go to the websites. Go to the QR codes, and each one of these boxes comes with 8 of these packages. And like I said, it's free. Cool package. People like things that look good. Well, for years we've been making kiruv look beautiful. And of course, you also have the very famous and beloved Asher Yitzar posters you could also get from the store. One of these boxes, and you could have at least 100 of these posters, both Ashkenazi and Sephardi nusach. You could put it on the counter at your synagogue, at your yeshiva, at your Judaica store. In so many words, in every place you possibly can. These are all available on the store. There's some other stuff on the store, and there's more coming next week, Be'ezrat Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem, there's another book that's coming next week. And but the key is to make sure to get this book into the hands of every single Jew, whether there's Hasidish, Litvish, Sephardi, Ashkenazi. I don't care where they came from. Put this book into their hands, as long as they know how to read Hebrew, obviously. This is not something to just put into your library and do nothing with it. Get this into the book. Do shiurim about it. Make sure your community is aware of what's in this book. Because once you are aware of what's in this book, you will run away from anyone who even looks like Manis Friedman. Needless to say, speaks like him, like some of these other heretics that have been following in his footsteps in different places. So, Rabotai Karim, that's the special announcement. And of course, reminder for everybody who hasn't had the privilege of subscribing to the AI Rabbi app that is answering countless questions every single day. Subscribe to the AI Rabbi app. There's also a special deal for a year membership. I think it's coming out in the next few days. If it's not out, I think it's already out now, where you get like a 20 or 30% discount. In so many words, lots of good stuff to help Am Yisrael, to help the world get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, Rabotai Karim, this week's parasha, we have a double parashat Behar, Behar-Bechukotai, the mountain, the laws, and of course, as Darkenu B'Kodesh, in our way of holiness, we always want to look at the connection. But instead of starting with this parashot, we're actually going to take a little bit of a step back to the end of last week's parasha. to the end of last week's parasha, which we've discussed over the years, but not last week, to just remind everyone about the heretic, the apikos, the blasphemer, that cursed the name of HaShem and was, the Torah specifically has a whole segment about him, that he ended up getting stoned. HaShem gave him the death penalty. And the question is, why is this needed in the Torah? Why is this needed in the Torah? Furthermore, we see that in the beginning of Parashat Behar, we talk about the Shemitah, and then we talk about slavery. Slavery, Rabotai. And if you haven't paid attention enough, for the last couple of centuries, slavery among the nations has been mostly abolished. In America, almost 200 years ago. In Brazil, a little less than that. Most places in the world do not have official slavery. They still have it in Africa in certain places. They still have it even in America in certain places, nonetheless. But generally speaking, slavery is frowned upon. And while it remains frowned upon by many, the Torah's version of slavery in this world is very different. In fact, it's a world of difference from what the nations consider slavery and what they've done over the years. Tonight we're going to dig a little bit deeper into what the Torah says to do with slavery in order to help us understand who is truly a king and who is a slave. This, of course, will be followed by your questions, and we're going to take another step to get closer to the King of Kings. And as we've said, last week's parasha ended off with a bang where a blasphemer was removed from the world. This week's parasha talks about the Jubilee year, then about slavery, and then if that wasn't enough, we then go into punishments. Behar-Bechukotai. For all those ignorant people that do not think that HaShem punishes, there's no punishment in Torah, or that HaShem loves everyone the same, no matter what. Apparently they haven't read the Torah. Needless to say, they haven't read Behar-Bechukotai, because if you actually understand the basic meaning of what's being said there, you start shaking. And if you don't shake, you should check yourself into a hospital. Perhaps you're not in this world anymore. What's the connection, Rabotai? What's the connection of all of this? Well, Chazal tell us that in regards to the story of the heretic blasphemer, one of the reasons why HaKadosh Baruch Hu made sure to put this in the Torah is for the same reason of why there are segments of the Torah like Parashat Bechukotai and countless other places in the Torah where HaKadosh Baruch Hu intentionally scares us to death. Why? Leman yir'u v'yirau. In order for them to see and be afraid. In so many words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a vested interest to keep us afraid. And after we learn about the Shemitah and the slaves, we see that this is different. What is this relevant to today? We can understand that the laws of the violating Shabbat still relevant today. We can understand that the laws of the Shemitah still relevant today. But slavery has been abolished. Shouldn't we stop talking about it? Anytime you do talk about it, people make funny faces. Well, let's see. Let's see what the Holy Torah says about slavery. Well, first, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us that as part of this Jubilee year, one of the things we need to remember is that the world is Hashem's. not ours. Therefore, property that was bought by one tribe from another tribe is returned after 50 years, the Jubilee year. As Hashem says in chapter 25, verse 23, the land shall not be sold in perpetuity, for the land is mine. What does that have to do with slavery? Because Hashem says the same thing about the slave. In fact, HaKadosh Baruch Hu teaches us how we are to treat each other, giving us some examples in chapter 25, verse 35. It says, if your brother becomes impoverished, lose all of his money, and his means falter in your proximity, you shall strengthen him, proselyte or resident, so that he can live with you. Meaning you see your fellow Jew struggling, can't make ends meet, is getting thrown out of his house. You are now obligated to help him, if it's within your means. Yeah, but I wanted to take a vacation with that money. Okay, cancel the vacation. Why? Hashem put him in front of you in his disheveled situation that he's in for a reason. Because you're the one that can help him. Okay, so maybe I'll make some money out of it, I'll charge him some interest. No, Hashem says. Verse 36, do not take from him interest and increase. And you shall fear your God, and let your brother live with you. In so many words, you're doing it for free. You lend money for free. Whether you want to lend him a lot, lend him a little, point is, free. There's no money-making opportunity here. Why? I am Hashem, your God, who took you out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, to be God unto you. We see that there are many places where HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes this verse out and reminds us that he took us out of Egypt. Whether it's the Shema Yisrael, or it's Pesach, or it's don't lend money with interest, or slavery, and many other situations where HaKadosh Baruch Hu reminds us he took us out of Egypt. What about if there's a situation where you could do slavery, where it's allowed? Hashem says, if it's your brother, meaning it's your fellow Jew, that has become impoverished with you and is sold to you, you shall not work him with slave labor. Like a laborer or a resident shall he be with you. In so many words, yes, you could have him as a slave, but he cannot be treated like a slave that's not Jewish. Regardless, you're not allowed to mistreat anyone, you're not allowed to intentionally hurt them, torture them, any of the stuff that's been done in the slavery of the nations. But the Jewish slave is different. A good example that I saw this week is in a sefer that I got, let's say about a year ago, from Rabbi Deutsch, the Living Torah Museum. And he has interesting commentary on every parasha, where different things that are relevant to history. And in this week's parasha, he first and foremost discusses the reality of Jewish slavery and how different it is from the nations. There are certain halachot that restrict us from giving this slave, this Jewish slave, certain type of work that will embarrass him. You can't make him tie your shoes or bring your stuff to the bathhouse. These are things that will embarrass him. Yeah, but he's a slave. I bought him. He's a Jew. Yeah, but I own him. The owner of a Jewish slave is not allowed to order his slave to perform tasks that have no useful purpose, just to show him who's the boss. or to keep him busy. He can't tell his Jewish slave to just keep digging around until he gets back, so you know he's not stealing anything and just keep him busy. Or just to tell him what to do and show off that you're in power. Can't do stuff like that. And there are many different details to the point where Chazal coined it, said someone who gets himself a slave gets himself an owner, meaning the slave is in power. If you have one pillow, you give it to the slave. You can't use it for yourself. If you have one piece of meat, he eats it. Next time, get two. How is that different from the nations? Well, he has some amazing things in the museum, and he has some pictures here where you see this example is an ancient Roman period branding iron with the letter DS on it. What did the Romans do with it? The same thing that the Nazis, Ymach Shemam, did with our grandparents, and stamped the slaves. They stamped them, just like you would stamp animals in order to brand them. This is the Jewish slave. This is this one. They would brand. How would they brand? They take this, put it in fire, heat up the steel, and then put it on the body of the slave. Many times, these were Jewish slaves. He also has another picture of how some of them would put collars on the slave, like people do with dogs, lehavdi. There are countless stories, of course, of the sufferings that African Americans suffered under the American rule when there was slavery in this country, tormenting and torturing them. There's endless stories of what happened to the Jewish people in Nazi Germany, in Poland, and different countries where the Nazis ruled during the Holocaust. Slavery among the nations has always meant persecution, pain, suffering, near death or actual death. Whereas slavery in the Torah doesn't say any of that. None of that is allowed. Not allowed to brand anyone, not allowed to torture anyone. In fact, if you hurt them, you have to release them. So slavery in the Torah is very much different. Why? Hashem says this all has to do with fearing God. But he's my slave, I bought him. Paid 10 grand for him. The Gemara in Masechet Bava Kamma, page 116b, says that the laws of slavery are expanded upon when it comes to halacha. Once we understand the reason behind why the Jewish slave is different. To such an extent that not only are they applicable today, because the Torah doesn't change, but in fact, they're relevant to every single person that has a business and has employees. And the Gemara says, we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us in this parasha a couple of times the reason behind why you cannot torture, insult, embarrass this Jewish slave. In verse number 42 in chapter 25, says, "For they are my servants, who I have taken out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold in the matter of a slave. You shall not subjugate him through hard labor. You shall fear your God. Then, in verse number 55, says, for the children of Israel are servants to me. They're my servants, whom I have taken out of the land of Egypt. I am HaShem, your God. And Chazal says, simply put, a Jewish slave is only a slave of whoever owns him temporarily. Because really, he and his owner are Hashem's slaves, are Hashem's servants. To such an extent, the Gemara says, that you have to know how to treat your employees. One of the most difficult things I've had, both when I was running a business in Wall Street, as well as running the organization of Be'ezrat Hashem in the Torah world, is employees. Finding good employees is extremely difficult. Even if you found somebody good, then you have to deal with all of the stories. I'm sick, I'm tired, I have an appointment, I have a this, I have a that, I forgot, I didn't make it, somebody interrupted. You have to hear all the different things, and you have to deal with it, because it's people's lives. But the same token, you want stuff done. But you have to try to find the people that are both talented and have the least amount of baggage, which is almost an impossible task. Needless to say, the halacha here pertains to the Jewish employees. How so? Chazal says that a Jewish employee cannot be treated like he's your slave, like he's your servant. In fact, the Shulchan Aruch in Choshen Mishpat, the section that talks about the halachot of having workers, 333, in Seif 3, 3, says what the Gemara in Masechet Bava Kamma says. Let's say you have found an employee. You tell him, listen, I want you to fix my roof, and after you finish fixing it, I want you to take care of the walls, and after that, take care of the yard, and da-da-da-da. How much? Oh, $2,000. Okay. Here, you give the guy the money ahead of time to give him the boost. He said he needs the money, he needs the work, that's why he's willing to do this work for you. He needs the money. Okay, so you pay him. The guy does what unfortunately happens often. Halfway through the day, he's supposed to work, let's say, 15 hours to finish this job. 7 hours later, so okay, I'm going home. What do you mean you're going home? You didn't finish. I told you the roof and the wall and the yard and this, and that's I paid you ahead of time. Yeah, I understand. I'm going home though. What do you mean you're going home? You need to finish the job. No, I'm going home. I'm done. I'm finished. I don't want to work no more. What, so you're going to finish tomorrow? No, I'm not finished. I'm done. I'm finished. I can't do it. Okay, but I paid you ahead of time. Okay, you paid. Also, give me the money back. Oh, no, I spent it. I already paid my rent. What, are you kidding me? I paid you the money. What do you do? Shulchan Aruch, Paskins. Itchila poel b'melacha. He started working. V'chazar bo b'chetzi hayom. And he decided after half a day he can't do it. Doesn't want to do it. Whatever it is. V'afilu kvar deme schiroto. You already paid him. V'en beyado leshalem leba'al habayit. And he doesn't have the ability to pay you back. You already paid his rent. You already sent it to his family in Israel. Yachol lachzor bo v'amaot chov alav. He's allowed to do that, and he's just going to have to pay you back the money. What do you pay back? Tomorrow, pay me the money? No, he doesn't have. So when he's going to pay the money? He says, oh, listen, Mr. Reuven, I can't do this anymore. It's too much for me. It's too hot. Florida is like Gehinnom. I can't. I'm used to normal weather. So I'll pay you back. When are you going to pay me back? I'll give you payments. I'll send you $10 a month. What do you mean $10 a month? I give you $2,000. $10 a month. It's 1,000 years before you pay me back. Listen, I could do that. I could pay $10 a month, and just make sure you don't deposit the check before the first of the month, because then it's going to bounce and the bank charges me a $25 fee and I don't have the $25. Hey, Habibi, I hired you to work here. Why don't you just do the work? No, I can't. It's too much for me. It's too hard. I thought I could fix the roof. I thought I could fix the garage. I thought I could fix all. It's too much for me. It's too hot. I can't do it. I'll pay you back though. Shulchan Aruch says, allowed. Why? Why? Why is he allowed? What kind of corruption is this? It's not corruption. Says the Shulchan Aruch, as the Gemara says, Ki li bnei Yisrael avadim. They use the verse in this parasha because bnei Yisrael, Am Yisrael, are my servants, Hashem says. They're mine. I've taken them out of Egypt. I am Hashem your God. Meaning, this is a Jew. He's my servant. He's not yours. He's not a servant to another one of my servants. In fact, the Rama expands upon this and says, this is also the reason why if someone wants to get a job and the guy says, listen, I need you to come work in my building in Dubai for 3 years. 3 years, I pay you $100,000, but you have to be there for 3 years. Rama says, not allowed. Why? We see from the Torah that 3 years is already like slavery. Don't do 3 years. Yeah, but it's money. Don't do 3 years. Why? You're not a slave. But what about the money? Do 2 years. Do a year. 1 year at a time. Don't do 3 years. Why? You're Hashem's slave. You're not a slave of a slave. We see here, Rabotai, the Jew is different. Furthermore, a person would ask, okay, fine, they're different. But you said in many lectures that everything that Hashem does is good, and everything, what good could possibly come out of slavery? Well, first and foremost, slavery was one of the ways that you would help a thief do tshuva. If he stole something and he didn't have the money to pay back, he became a slave for however long it took for him to pay back that money. And during that time he's a slave. Who is he a slave to? The guy he stole from. And the guy he stole from's sole job is to make sure to help this thief. Not abuse him, not insult him. The opposite of what the nations do. Yeah, but he stole from me. Yeah. He stole from you. Obviously, as Yetzirah, so you have to help him. Help him realize that he made a mistake and help him realize that you don't need to do that. Help him do tshuva. That was one thing. Furthermore, one of the most disgraceful things to live with is being a mamzer. What's a mamzer? If a woman is married and she decides she wants to be with somebody that's not her husband, and she makes the mistake of doing that, and a baby is born from that. Same thing if there's incest, if a brother marries a sister or a mother, all of these different types of forbidden relationships. If a child is born from that, that child is called a mamzer. In English, they call it bastard, but it's not really the proper term for it, because a mamzer has halachic ramifications. A mamzer is not allowed, even though he's Jewish, the mother's Jewish, even though the father Could be Jewish, not Jewish, could be whoever he is, the mother's Jewish, the kid is Jewish. But needless to say, if this child came while she was married to somebody else, even if she wasn't living in the same house with him, let's say she was married and then she ran away. She decided to run away to Atlanta. She ran away to Atlanta and she decided that she wants to have a new husband. And the new husband didn't know that she's already married to somebody else she ran away from. And he has a kid with her. Guess what? That kid is a Mamzer. Being a Mamzer changes his status forever. Why? He's not allowed to marry a regular Jew. He's not allowed to marry a regular Jew. There are two people he can marry. He can marry another Mamzer, someone else that had similar wicked parents, or he can marry a convert. Now, what happens if they have kids? Their kids are also Mamzerim. Wait, so you're telling me that the kids are going to have to stay with this curse forever? Almost. Why almost? Because the Chachamim say one of the permissions the Mamzer also has is to marry a maidservant, to marry a slave, non-Jewish slave. Why would he ever want to do that? His situation's already bad enough. Everybody knows his mom cheated on the father, the horrible situation. Why? Well, or his father cheated on the mother, whatever it is. Everybody knows this guy's a disaster. This guy, he didn't even do anything. He was born already into the world with problems. Imagine, you're born into the world, you owe $10 million. So what are you going to do? I don't even know how to balance a checkbook. That's the way, buddy. Okay, so I can't fix myself, but can I fix my kids? Yes. Marry a Goya. What? I thought it's forbidden. Listen to this. Chachamim say, and actually Rav Sternbach recently spoke about this, and they said, yes, this is the halacha applicable today. It says, if this mamzel goes to a country that still has slavery, so you'd have to go today to Africa. Different parts of Africa still have slaves. Over there, buy for himself a slave, a woman slave, a maidservant. Then, he's married that slave, has a kid with her. Now, according to halacha, she's not Jewish. The child is her kid, it's not his kid. Biologically, it's his kid, but spiritually, it's not his kid. The kid's not Jewish. And guess what? The kid is also his slave. Because whatever is hers is his. She's a slave. Once he has that kid, the non-Jewish kid, he frees him from slavery, and that kid automatically becomes Jewish. And thereby using slavery to free the Mamzer, his lineage, his descendants, from this curse they've had upon them. The kid is considered a Jew just like you and I. He's not considered someone that is the son of a Mamzer. No. He's considered 100% a Jew. He can marry whoever he wants in the Jewish world. Because he was born to a non-Jewish woman. He's a slave. As soon as he's freed, he becomes Jewish. That's one of the ways that a Mamzer can fix their bloodline. Perhaps that's the reason why HaShem allows slavery to continue despite the horrible things that these nations do to slaves. He still allows them to continue in case there's any Mamzerim in the Jewish world that want to fix their lineage. This is one of the ways to do it. As they say, Chazal teaches us, Talmidei Chachamim Marbim Shalom. Torah scholars bring peace. The more you know Torah, the more you realize how the Torah allows a lot more than it forbids. As someone asked me just the other day, what does he do if he has allergies? Can he take I think it was Benadryl? He didn't take it for a few weeks already, and Shabbat was very difficult for him. And I explained to him, the medicine that the sages are talking about that's forbidden is curing. When you take allergy medicine, it's not curing you. It's not considered a cure. It's just subsiding the pain, and therefore you're allowed to take it. And he says to me, wow, the more I learn Torah, the more I realize how so many more things are allowed than I thought. Now back to the equation at hand. The whole concept of slavery is something that has to be treated different because we're constantly reminded that HaShem, He is our master. We are His slaves, not other people's. And the Gemara in Masechet Horayos, page 10a, talks about the Nasi. The Nasi, which translates to prince, but really was not a prince. The Nasi had special sacrifices you would have to bring different from the rest of Am Yisrael. And the Gemara says, you know why he has different sacrifices? Because the Nasi, he's the king. How do we know he's the king? Because only HaShem is above him. And anyone that has only HaShem above him, that's a king. So from there we learn that a person that has put themselves in a situation where they're only going in the way of HaShem. Only HaShem is who they're afraid of. Only HaShem is who they follow. That's the definition of a king. And the Gemara in Masechet Gittin, page 62b, says, who are the real kings in the world today? Says Torah scholars, Talmidei Chachamim, they're the kings. Why? For the very same reason we said before. Because the real Torah scholars, they only follow HaShem. They don't follow the money. They don't follow the reputation of the opinions of people, the likes, the dislikes. No. They follow HaShem. Only He is above them. That's why they're the kings. And in fact, anyone can become a king if only HaShem is who they follow. The problem is that while many people say, yeah, I only follow HaShem, I don't follow the idolatrous religions, I don't follow this, I don't follow that. Yes, but sometimes you may not follow idol worship, you may not follow heresy, but sometimes HaShem is not your only king. You believe that HaShem is your only king, but you follow Him to a point where you're willing to do the mitzvah, you're willing to go, you're willing to learn, until it comes to money. Once there's money involved, no. Listen, I got to go make money. I got to go make this investment, and then I'll come back to HaShem. Or, listen, I love HaShem, everything for HaShem. Okay, so why don't you use the money that HaShem gave you and help us publicize more Torah? You have a few million. Use a big part of it. You don't need all of it. Use it so we can publicize more Torah. Listen, I'll give $100. What $100? What are we going to do with $100? What are we going to do? We're going to buy a few cups. What are we going to do? Buy a few books. What are we going to do with $100? You have millions. You have hundreds of thousands. You have, Baruch Hashem, more than enough. You don't need to eat all of it in one day. Use it to publicize Torah. Listen, I worked really hard for it. Oh, you worked hard for it. So, your commitment to Hashem, and He is your king, up to that point. Up to the point of where a certain amount of money is involved. To other people, it could be something as simple as ice cream, where they'll follow Hashem, they go to the shiur, they see the rabbi is there, but then they hear, Ding, 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 ding. Outside, the ice cream truck. Ooh, like a little kid. Run out of the shiur while the rabbi is speaking. Why? They want to get ice cream. Hey, first of all, it's insulting what you just did. You just walked out of a shiur Torah. Second of all, you're going to go buy ice cream. It's going to take you 5, 10, 20 minutes. Yeah, but I really want an ice cream. I'm hot. But don't you love Torah? Yeah, of course I love Torah. Don't you love HaShem? Of course I love HaShem. So that's your point. Your red line is ice cream. Some people, their line is immorality. He'll go to Shiur Torah. He'll donate tzedakah. But he can't help himself. He has to look at immorality, the pornography and the filth of the world. At least once, twice a week. Or he cheats on his wife, or she cheats on her husband. And she looks to everybody else, she looks like a chasidah. She has kisui rosh, she's modest, she says the blessings properly, everybody knows, she knows a lot of things, but she cheats on her husband. She commits immorality. She walks around not modest, sometimes. She's really, really modest, but sometimes if there's a party, she's invited to some bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, wedding, she forgets modesty in a closet. She goes there looking like she's part of a different nation. So for those, they love HaShem. Don't think for a moment that they don't love HaShem. You ask him, you love HaShem? Of course I love HaShem. You love Torah? Of course I love Torah. You do your blessings? Of course I do my blessings. I wake up in the morning and I wash with the hands and I have a little thing next to my bed so I don't even waste any time going to the bathroom. I wash it right next to my bed and then I do the blessings and I do the blessings with my kids and I do my blessings and I also taught my neighbor how to do the blessings and also I only eat kosher. Doesn't matter what's going on and I give tzedakah every week. I give tzedakah before Shabbat. I donate some money on the Bezat Hashem app, and I even gave some of these kiruv cards that the Rabbi keeps talking about. I even gave some of those. Wait, so you give tzedakah, you say blessings, you watch Shiur Torah. So I don't understand. So how come when it comes to modesty, you leave it in the closet and you forget about modesty for a few hours or a few days? How come? Listen, I don't want to look, so this, I feel embarrassed, so you love HaShem, but up to a point. Up to a point. Sometimes, people love HaShem. They watch Shiur Torah, they read the books, they give tzedakah, but somebody said something in the Kehillah that hurt their ego a little bit. And they declare war on that person like they are Zera Amalek. You tell them, listen, you're a religious person. Relax. Stop it. Enough. What are you treating your fellow Jew like he's your enemy? No, he's my enemy. He insulted me. Whoa, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? No, you don't understand. You didn't get this, you didn't get that. And they have all of the reasons in the world of why their ego was hurt. Oh, she looked at me a funny way, and I know she's thinking in her mind that I did this. How do you know what's in people's mind? What are you, psychic, psycho? What are you? No, but you don't understand. In reality, Chachamim understand perfect. Ego. Similar to what I said to a young man. Came to me. He said, listen, Rabbi, Baruch Hashem, I've changed everything. Watching your shurim. And I found a girl. I've been dating her for 7 months. Already I know he hasn't changed everything. What do you need to date somebody for 7 months? And how can you date for 7 months without making endless amount of sins? But nonetheless, okay, fine. No, okay, so you changed everything. So you found the girl. So get married. No, listen, Rabbi, she's really a good girl. Wonderful girl. Okay, so get married. yeah, there's one problem. I don't know because, she has like a thing, like she wasn't always, and you always were. No, I also, but still, it's like, it's like a man, he wants to have something that was never touched, and it's not pure. I don't know. I said, no, I know. I can tell you the answer. So what do you think? What do you think I should do? I said, you should watch my series of Igeret Ramban, and hopefully, after you watch the whole series once or twice, you'll eliminate that ego of yours. Oh, that's what it is, Rabbi? 100%. It has nothing to do with the girl. You could have gotten Sarai Menu. You have too much of an ego, she won't be good enough for you. You have a big ego. And that's where your line is. And many times people are willing to throw the entire Torah into the garbage for ego. Oh, he said this to me. I can't believe he answered me that way. I can't believe he didn't answer me on time. I can't believe this. Ego. And people are willing to destroy their relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu just for their ego. But in their mind, they're closer to HaShem than ever. Why? Because their closeness to HaShem is superficial. It's under their terms. In so many words, they say, I love you, HaShem, but I also love ice cream. I love you, HaShem, but I also love money. I love you, HaShem, but I also love my ego. I also love food. I love you, HaShem, but I also love something else. They follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but to a point. To a point. Rav Daniel Zer, Shichyeh, years ago, said there are healthy relationships and sick relationships. We see that Shlomo HaMelech in Song of Songs in chapter 2, in essence, it is talking about the relationship between Am Yisrael as the woman to Hashem, the husband. And in chapter 2 of the Song of Songs, she says, oh, I love you so much. I have such great desire. I can't live without you. I'm sick from the desire that I have for you. That's how much I miss you. Sounds great. Who doesn't want such a woman? Is there a husband on planet Earth that doesn't want his wife to always want to be next to him and love him and cherish him? It's great. Until this seemingly healthy relationship turns really sick. When? The next chapter, chapter 3. Where Kadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, my dear, my beloved, I'm here, I'm at your door. And she says, oh no, I'm already tired now. Come back another time. Wait, didn't you just say you've grown sick from how much you miss me and you desire me? I came. And you're telling me, no, you're already in bed and you're comfy in your blankets and your teddy bear's next to you. And what happened to that desire? And I love you and I miss you. Say hello, something. No, come back another day. That doesn't sound like a healthy relationship. It sounds more like a psychotic relationship. But unfortunately, sometimes that's the case. A person can say that they can love Hashem dearly, but betray Hashem for a bag of potato chips. Betray Hashem for a few dollars. Betray Hashem for ego. Betray Hashem for the smallest, foolishest things in the world. And the reality is, Rabotai Karim, the Gemara tells us to be a slave is something that can happen to somebody, but they're never a slave of a man forever. They're only a slave of Hashem forever. But who wants to be a slave? I want to be a king. Okay. Well, since you're not the Nasi, you can't be a king as a Nasi. Perhaps you're not a Talmid Chacham, so You can't be a king because you're Talmid Chacham. But the Torah still left you an opening where you can be a king. How can I be a king? Only follow HaShem. That's who dictates your life. Nothing else. No lines, no limitations. Because once you have limitations, that means that the relationship has limitations. There's a funny story that you can learn a lot of Musar from, that I've heard at least half a dozen times or more from my Rav, but each time it's a new lesson. In the communist Russia, in past years, the government wanted to constantly test the people's loyalty to what they called Mother Russia. They come, they ask them, they investigate them, sometimes torture them. And they came to a guy and they said, "Who's your mother?" "Mother Russia." "Who's your father?" "Stalin." Okay. So, if Mother Russia wants to take all of your fields, you give it to her? You give it to her. Mother Russia wants all of your gold, you give it to her? Give it to her. Every bit of it. Mother Russia wants all of your vehicles, you give it to her? Give it to her, no problem. Mother Russia wants all your chickens too, you give it to her? Absolutely not. No! Chicken's mine! Investigate. What? Wait. The gold, you're willing. The vehicles, the fields, worth millions, you're willing. But the chickens, no. No chickens. Why not? Explain to us. He said, listen, fields, I don't have. Vehicles, nothing. Gold, not even in my dreams I have gold. The only thing I have is a chicken. You think I'm going to give them the chicken? That's sometimes people's mentality with HaShem. They're willing to give everything that they don't have. And on that, the Baalei Musar said, this is the reason why in our prayer we say, HaShem Melech, HaShem Malach, HaShem Imloch, Le'olam Va'ed. God is the king now, God was the king in the past, and God is the king in the future. Now, it seems like it should be, he was king in the past, present, and future. But it doesn't say that. It says he's king now, he was king in the past, and he was king in the future. Why? The Baalei Musar says that's because people are like this Russian. He's willing to give a bunch of things he doesn't have. But the one thing he has, not willing to give. So they don't mind giving the past. When God was the past, yeah, he was the king in the past, no problem. Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach, he used to be king. Sure, before I was born, for sure he was the king. Created the world, all the miracles, absolutely. Hashem Yimloch, king in the future, absolutely. Yeah, he's the one who's going to bring blessings to the children and the grandchildren and the descendants. And yeah, absolutely. What about Hashem Melech? What about now? He's king until let me finish doing what I was doing. I was just about to do some corrupt business that Hashem doesn't like. So he's not king right this second, but I'll finish later, okay? He'll be king in the future. They're willing to have Hashem as their melech, as their king, but not now. And the question is, do you want to be a slave or a king? If you want to be a slave, you continue with the limitations. You could be a slave to your ice cream. You could be a slave to money. You could be a slave to immorality. You could be a slave to idolatry. You could be a slave to people. There's no end to the amount of owners that would be happy to have you as their slave. But if you want to be a king, then at the very least understand how to get there. If you're willing to glorify and make a Kadosh Baruch Hu king over you, then you could be a king. The more you have him as a king over you, the bigger the king you become. Are you willing to make the sacrifice for HaShem today, or only in the past and in the future? I'm going to donate when I have more money. But you have now something, no? So you can donate whatever you can now. Listen, I used to have a lot of money. If I still had that money that I used to have, I would give. But I don't have that much. I have only a little bit. Once I have more in the future. Oh, so you're willing to donate what you don't have from the past, and you're willing to donate what you don't have in the future. But today you're not willing. Today you're not willing to make HaShem king. And that's the problem. If a person is not going to make a Kadosh Baruch Hu his king or her king today, that means they have a different king. And that's why Rabbi Shlomke of Zvil said to a person, listen, a guy came to him and says, listen, I made a lot of sins. Is there hope for me? He says, absolutely. You're not there yet to make Hashem 100% king. No problem. But at least don't make the Satan king. He says, how am I making the Satan king? He says, the next time the Satan comes to you, 5 minutes from now, trying to make you angry, 10 minutes from now, trying to make you steal something, 20 minutes from now, trying to make you look at something immoral, a day from now, trying to make you believe heresy, a week from now, trying to make you do some type of corrupt deal. The next time the Satan comes to you, don't listen to him right away. Don't act like a servant that does not have a choice. Don't listen to him right away. The moment you don't listen to the Satan right away, already he's not king over you. And perhaps that mitzvah will bring on another mitzvah, and eventually you'll get rid of him and actually have a Kadosh Baruch Hu as your king, which to him you'll listen to right away. This, Rabotai Karim, are some of the lessons that we could learn, we could see. The Torah does not have one extra dot, needless to say, not one extra word or one extra sentence. We see that at the end of Parashat Behar, it talks about how the slaves, in so many words, person chooses a certain lifestyle. Person chooses a certain lifestyle and they can bring themselves slavery right to their front door. The owner of that slave should never fool themselves to think that that Jew is really their slave. Everyone belongs to HaShem. They just don't realize it. Then later on in Parashat Bechukotai, Kadosh Baruch Hu scares us to death with all types of threats of if we continue living our life as if Hashem is not our king, as if we don't need to listen to him, and we treat him with casualness. Why does he do all of this? For the reason of why Chazal explained the end of last week's Parashat Emor. Leman yiru v'yirau. Let them see it, learn it, and be afraid of it. And if they're truly afraid of it, they won't do it. This, Rabotai Karim, are the lessons. Bezat Hashem, people will take these to heart, and we can all take this to heart to glorify Hashem over us and become kings under the King of Kings instead of servants to other servants. You know, it took a lot of time and effort to study for this lecture, and every lecture changes my life a little bit, and I hope it does to you as well. If you're enjoying it, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share with people that you care about, people that you know could benefit from it. You may end up changing their life. Thanks again for learning with me, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll continue growing together. Now back to the lecture. This is now your time to ask your questions. Why do you guys visit Djerba every year? Can you explain to me? Well, I haven't visited Djerba in my entire life, but I know that Rav Mazuz, alav shalom, has an entire Jewish community in the area, built in Tripoli, And in fact, many of our ancestors lived there. My grandparents were from Tripoli and grew up there and started the family there, and really only left because of what happened with Nazi Germany and making allies with Italy and torturing the Jews. But the point is that there used to be a huge community in Djerba. Now there is something there, but nowhere near what it used to be. But many Sephardi Jews, especially those like myself that came from Tripoli, came from Libya, came from that area of the world, go back there because there's still Jews there, number one. And number two, there's also a lot of righteous Jews that were buried there. So we go there and pray to HaShem that in the merit of these tzaddikim, He'll bring blessings to us. Yep, yes, correct. Rabbi, how can you not be a wicked person? I don't want to sin against Hashem. Simple, like we said in the Shiur, by making Hashem a king over you, that means you'll be following Hashem. That means when you wake up in the morning, you're going to do what Hashem said to do. You're going to wash your hands, you're going to take care of whatever bodily needs you have. After you do that, you say thank you to Hashem for making your body work. After that, you pray to Hashem, say thank you for giving me my life. Put on tefillin if you're a man. Start off your day with praying to Hashem. After that, you eat, but before you eat, don't be like the animals of the world that just gets to the food and eats. Think for a second. Where did this food come from? The store. Fine. Where did the store get it from? They got it from a factory. Where did the factory get it from? They got it from some farmers. Where did the farmers get it from? The field. Where did the field get it from? Hashem. Exactly. So the source of everything is Hashem. So say thank you that He gave you food. Whether it's peanut butter and jelly, or it's matzah, or it's pancakes, or whatever. Say thank you before you eat. Thank you for giving me food. You could be eating rocks. You could be eating sand, like Rabbi Eliezer ben Holkenos ate for 8 days, because he didn't have money for food. But he didn't want anyone to know, and end up not wanting to teach him Torah, so literally, he ate sand for 8 days. You're not eating sand, Baruch Hashem. The food that you eat, tasty. Before you eat it, say thank you to Hashem, say a blessing. After you eat, go do whatever it is that you need to do. If you're going to go work, make sure that your job is an ethical job. It's an honest job. You're not stealing from people. You're not one of these corrupt businesses where you're selling people broken goods, and then when they ask for a refund because they realize that the what you sold them is garbage, you don't give them the refund. Don't be in one of those businesses. Be in an honest business. Why? Because Hashem is watching you. He can give you kosher money that is ethical and honest, but if you want to steal, He'll allow you to steal, but you'll get punished for it. Why would you steal if Hashem is willing to give it to you without stealing? So, your job, ethical job. After you finish your job, don't be like the people that waste their life living vicariously through other people's lives, where as soon as they get home, they watch sports, they watch movies, they watch other people's lives instead of living your life. Go home, you have a family, spend some time with the family, and then start learning about Hashem. Learn His Torah, learn the weekly Torah portion, the weekly parasha, learn some halachas to know how to live like a Jew, learn some musar with us, which helps you learn how to behave, become a better human being. Try to dedicate as much time as possible to learning Torah, whether it's through the videos like this, or it's through books, or a combination, but try to do that as much as possible. Don't waste your life living a life that is watching other people live, where you're watching sports, so you're watching a bunch of other people playing. You're watching a bunch of people acting like other people for a movie. You're watching a bunch of people, posting their pictures on the internet. Why? Why are you living through other people? Live your life. Live your life. Once you Got home, you spent some time with the family, you ate, you drank, of course, everything with blessings, you learned some Torah, pray to HaShem, get ready for the next day. The more you live your life in that structure, the easier it is to live a sinless life. Of course, everybody makes mistakes here and there, but generally speaking, if you follow the blueprint of the Torah, it becomes difficult to sin. The more you learn Torah, the more difficult it is to sin. Not because the desires disappear, because you don't have time. You don't have time to sin. You're busy praying, you're busy blessing, you're busy learning, you're busy trying to do whatever you need to do in order to make a living, stay with the family. There's no time to sin. And that's the key. Follow the blueprint of the Torah, the laws, the teachings, and you won't be a wicked person. You'll become a very righteous person. What would you change about Torah? Nothing. It's perfect. Thank you, Rabbi. You're an inspiration to all of us. Me as a public figure on the social platforms learns a lot from your wisdom and words. Not sure who you are, but Bezat Hashem, you'll succeed in all the good that you do. You didn't actually think that I believe that you are what your screen name says, do you? I wasn't, I'm young at heart, but I wasn't born yesterday. Okay. What's the importance of understanding what we're saying when davening? Do we have to understand every word? I see everyone around me, Americans who don't know Hebrew, praying with non-translated. Well, understanding every word is not necessarily just for people that Hebrew is a second language to them. If you go to shuls where the majority of the people are, the only language they speak is Hebrew, you're still going to find people that do not know what they're saying, because the Hebrew that is spoken and the Hebrew that is written as biblical Hebrew are two different languages. Same letters, two different languages. So just because you know how to speak Hebrew does not mean that you're going to understand everything you read. Now, should you understand everything you're reading? Sure, but it takes time, it takes practice, it takes effort. Certainly, during the time that you pray is not the ideal time to learn what you're saying. You're supposed to learn it before. Most of the prayer is from Tehillim, from Psalms. Try to understand what the actual meaning is. Maybe read some commentary on some of the verses. And over time, you'll understand more and more of what you're reading. But as far as the prayer still counts even if you don't know what you're saying. But needless to say, it's much better if you do know what you're saying, because the more you know what you're saying, the more you can connect to what is actually relevant to your life and how it affects you. Will I be punished for staying married to an unbeliever which prevents me from converting? You're already being punished. You're punishing yourself. Why does kishuf and religion have so much in common? Candles, incense, sacrifices, offerings. And is it a sin to do it even if you know HaShem is the only power? Well, to answer the second question, first, there's a verse in the Torah that says, Machshefa lo techayeh, meaning someone that deals with witchcraft, Torah says death penalty. So it's not only not allowed, it is one of the worst possible sins that a person can do during their life. As far as similarities, there's absolutely no similarities between the Torah and witchcraft as far as their meaning and their purpose. But if you're saying that anyone that lights candles is similar to Judaism, then that means that you could compare Judaism to people that light birthday cakes. You compare Judaism to people that are lighting a fire to see at night. Just because there's candles does not mean it's the same thing. So no, there's the more you learn about Torah, the more you understand what Torah is and how it has nothing to do with kishuf, with witchcraft. As far as sacrifices are something that we do because HaShem decreed that at the time of the Bet HaMikdash, we don't do sacrifices at this time. We haven't done for nearly 2,000 years. But the people that deal with witchcraft, they bring sacrifices to their demons because that's the price that they have to pay for what they want. They want this, this spirit, this demon, or whatever, depending on which thing they're connecting to. They have to pay a price. They want them to give them certain powers, certain abilities, certain possessions, and that requires certain sacrifices. In the world of Judaism, when we brought sacrifices to HaShem, it was only pure animals that were perfect. In the world of witchcraft, it's the exact opposite. It is things that are broken, it is things that are forbidden, it's the things that are immoral, it's the things that are damaging, it's the things that are impure. So many times, if you get to read about it, hopefully never do it, you will see that the sacrifices are pretty much 100% of the time either seed or blood. Either, the wasting seed or blood or both. And then sometimes also it's some type of death, but that's usually secondary. The primary thing that the powers of impurity want is blood and seed. So because they feed off of the impurity. It's the exact opposite of the Torah. Does kishuf make you an apikos? Kishuf makes you someone that cannot be counted on minyan, it's a person that loses their olam haba. Thank you for the support, for those that are donating on YouTube and on the website. Appreciate it. Should non-Jews have a rabbi that they get to know and go to regularly for advice? Does this have to be a local rabbi, or can we just contact them online, such as by emailing them? Should a non-Jew have a rabbi? If they can get one, that's good, and it's honest and helpful, by all means. If they can, yes, but most rabbis are going to be very, very busy with helping Jews. So it's going to be very difficult for people to find enough rabbis to help them. The main thing is to learn as much as you possibly can. As far as getting guidance, certainly, if you can get it, sure. I have many students that are not Jewish, and as well as many students that are Jewish. I try my best to help everybody that I possibly can, but I can't tell you that I can help everybody. There are certain times that people send messages and the messages go unanswered. Why? Because there's just too many messages. There's a lot. So not every rabbi is going to have as busy a life as I do, and not every rabbi is going to have the interest to help everybody. Some people are just going to focus on Jews because that's their priority. So the question is not should you. The question is really more could you. And if you could, by all means. I read in the Saka edition of Yokut Yosef that going to the restroom frequently makes it so that one does not have lewd thoughts. Why is that? I explained it in a lecture in the Torah Hasidut series, I believe about a week or two ago, that the more a person keeps the wastes in his body, that brings filth into their mind. So a person has to make sure that they're always clean. Whenever they have to go immediately. Relieve the self immediately. Sometimes a person is ashamed of giving so little. It happens to me. Well, I can tell you this. HaShem knows exactly what He gave you. And therefore, He judges you based on what He gave you. He's not going to judge you based on what He didn't give you. He's not going to judge you of why you're not giving $1 million when really all you have to give is $10. He's going to judge you on why you're not giving $10 because that's what you have. On the other hand, if you have $1 million and you're only giving $100, then He's going to judge you why you're giving only $100. HaShem judges us based on where we stand. So a person does not need to care about the amount or anything. One thing I would suggest and actually even ask you guys for, there are some people that are wonderful people that donate $10 and $20, and there's certainly, Baruch Hashem, people that donate $500 and $5,000. So Baruch Hashem, there's a lot of money needed for all the things that we do, and there's a lot more money needed for the things that we want to do. But there are some people that also donate literally as soon as they get, and they'll donate $2, they'll donate $5. For people that are donating smaller amounts, anything that's less than $10, my personal recommendation for them would be to, if let's say you could give, let's say $5 a week, wait 2 weeks and give $10. Why? Because the transaction cost of the merchants, regardless of whether it's Venmo or it's PayPal or it's GiveButter or it's whoever it is, the transaction costs are percentage-wise more when it's a smaller transaction. So if you can make the donation $10 or more, that would help us keep more of the money that you're donating. But if it's difficult for you for whatever reason, you could only donate that, then by all means, donate whatever you can. But never be ashamed of what you give if what you're giving is the most you can do it. The only thing that a person should be ashamed of is if they're giving less than what they can give. They can really give 4,000, but they're giving 400. They should be ashamed. Why? Because they made money more important than God. They made money more important than Torah. And that's certainly something to be embarrassed of. But if you're giving the most you possibly can, by all means. Does Hashem decide on Shavuot how much passion one will have for Torah learning for the year? Obviously, one must keep in mind it's up to the individual to use his free will to study. No, as far as passion for Torah, that's based on effort. The more you invest into something, the more you're going to love it. The reason why mothers love their children more than the fathers typically, aside from the fact that the child was part of their body for 9 months, is even when the children grow up, the mothers are usually much more connected to the children than the fathers are. And the reason why is typically the mothers spend much more time with the kids and invest a lot more into the kids than the fathers do that are typically working and doing other things. And that's one of the places we understand, and the sages, I've spoken about this in different lectures and brought many sources, where the sages talk about how the more you invest into the Torah, the more you're going to love it. To have the sweetness of the Torah requires sacrifice for the Torah, which means to learn Torah when you don't want to learn Torah when you feel you can't, to learn Torah when it's difficult and impossible for you. That's what ultimately will bring you the sweetness of Torah. That is something that a person decides for themselves based on their actions. How can one stop procrastinating getting up in the morning? The first thing I would recommend doing is watch the lecture I did earlier this week that talks about lazy people. And over there you'll have lots of information that will help you. Why do people get embarrassed from doing good, especially people who change from being a bad person to a good person? People do not get embarrassed of doing good. People don't necessarily commit to the good that they're doing as much as they commit to the bad. Meaning that, let's say, for example, somebody used to hang out with bad people and do things that are against Hashem's will. And now they've done Teshuva, and now they are in a religious community, and they go to shul and everything else. But as soon as they see their old friends, they start, they change their clothes, they change their behavior. And the reason why is because it's not because they're embarrassed of the good that they're doing, but rather because they're not fully committed to it. They're not fully committed to doing good. They're just doing the good because it makes more sense to them, it's more pleasurable for them, it's more convenient for them, it's more profitable for them. But the reason why they go back to the bad is not because they're embarrassed of the good, but rather because they still like the bad too. So until a person is fully committed to the good, they're always going to be jealous of the bad people. They're going to be jealous of the sinners. And that's a horrible, horrible thing, because that means that they're going to suffer in both worlds, this one and the next one. Living one foot in, one foot out is worse than living both feet out. Is it allowed to talk mundane things in shul after davening is finished? No. Shul is not for mundane conversations. Go outside, talk whatever you want to talk about. Rabbi, fear robs us from being effective in the world for ourselves and Hashem. What can a person pray and do to shake off fear? If you're afraid of Hashem, that's the best fear in the world to have, and the only fear you should have. The more you're afraid of Hashem, the less you'll be afraid of anything else. So work on your Yirat Shamayim, and there's many lectures that I've done about the topic. The more you're going to be afraid of Hashem, the less you'll be afraid of anything else, whether it's terrorist or lack of money, or other types of issues. How does Hashem find a way to bless someone giving Maaser more money if working a regular salary job? Should he enter Chinese auctions or buy lottery tickets? How? Hashem has no end to the amount of ways that he can bless somebody. And I told you guys a story the other day. I have a student, Baruch Hashem, him and his wife and kids have been very, very committed to learning Torah with us. The kids are watching BH Kids. The parents are watching the lectures. And Baruch Hashem, they've transformed their life for the better in a very, very good way over the last several years. And despite having many difficulties financially and otherwise, they committed to giving maaser, to giving 10% of whatever's coming in. If 2,000 is coming in, they give 200. If 1,000 come in, they give 100. They're very, very committed to giving because they know that this is good. It's good for them to do. It's necessary to do. And blessings will come. But they never expected any miracles beyond the norm. They just did what's good because it's good to do good. And they trusted in Hashem. Well, Rabotai Kareem, on Motzei Shabbat, I got a message from him, from the husband, and he tells me literally something unbelievable. I mean, I've seen a lot of miracles, Baruch Hashem, they never get old, but each time I get excited about it. So he tells me, listen, I got a call from somebody about a year and a half ago, that I haven't spoken to in 13 years. Out of the blue, he calls me, and he tells me, by the way, we used to work for that company, and I found out that we can get back pay. You can get back pay for the years you worked there. And people have all types of crazy conspiracies and stuff like that. He said, no, listen, just apply over here, just sign over here, and you can get it. Fine, he did it, and he forgot about it. It was easy enough to do, and he did it, and he forgot about it. A year and a half passed. All of a sudden, Motzei Shabbat, he sees a wire of back pay for over 10 years of work. If that's not a miracle, what is? Now, did he have to work for it? No. This money he made, he made this is money that he didn't even think he was ever going to get. He didn't even think about it, that it exists. I had another guy come to me, tell me that he's been trying to sell a property for 2.5, 3 years. That some type of property they're trying to sell. So Rabbi, bless us. if we sell it, we'll give Maaser. I said, if you're going to give Maaser, give 10% to help us publicize Torah. B'ezrat Hashem, you'll have a huge blessing. He says, yeah, but no one's even looking at this place for 2.5 years, 3 years. Nothing. No interest, nothing. Said, if you're going to do it, Hashem is going to bless you. Okay, I'm going to do it, he says. Okay, fine. He sold the property, I think, within a week. Within a week. I had another guy come to me, says, Rabbi, I have some money and I want to invest it, but I don't really know anything about investing. You know about investing. You spent almost 20 years doing it. I'm going to give Maaser. I've been giving Maaser. Doing it, giving Maaser for a couple of years. Said, okay. I told him something. He has no clue about all this stuff. I mean, he has a clue, but he's not. I mean, he didn't spend 20 years on Wall Street. I told him a few things. In hopes, make 10% a year, 20% a year, 30% in over a few years. You know, if you make 20% a year, you're already, you're considered successful in the stock market. If you make 10%, you're already considered successful. The best hedge fund managers in the world, have consistent returns of, 20% a year. And they become billionaires from it. So usually if you make 10, 20%, that's great. Within less than a year, he made something like 500%, 550% after listening to what I told him. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And there are countless other stories just like that. Meaning, he didn't have to work in order to make another $500,000 or whatever it was. The other guy didn't have to work in order to get paid for something he worked for 15 years ago. The guy didn't have to work extra in order to sell the property, needless to say, in a week. These stories keep coming. But who do they happen to? They happen to the people that already give the maaser when they don't have a lot, and really have the intention to continue doing it even if they do succeed. The sad thing is, Rabotai, is that sometimes success gets to people's head and they forget where the success came from, and after they succeed, they stop giving maaser, or they start giving it elsewhere. And this happened a bunch of times. I had one woman where when I met her, started guiding her in different things, she was making, I don't know, her business was making maybe $300,000-$400,000. Within less than 2 years, that business grew to $4 million. $4 million a year, take home, for her. Instead of her doing all the things that she said she was going to do, what did she do? She started literally donating to everyone else. She bought this guy a new building, new house, a new this. Literally, she just decided to become a gvil. And stop donating altogether to us. You know what happened? The business went back to a couple $100,000. Another time I had a guy, he had, I think, 3-4 businesses. When I met him, I think he only had 2. Then he started giving maaser, and it grew to 3-4 businesses. Made a lot more money. Then he asked for a blessing to open a 5th or 6th business. Got blessings. Succeeded in doing it. And a bunch of other miracles. And guess what? He stopped donating. Everything, nothing, zero. Why? I don't know. I don't ask people why they stop. I don't have that kind of time or interest to ask people why they do what they do. But this happens constantly. Constantly. People forget. And many times they end up losing as a result. Sometimes like that woman I explained, sometimes like other people, but sometimes, they simply, they may continue getting the money, but they don't have the blessing anymore. Meaning they don't have the joy of it anymore, they don't have the health anymore, they don't have they lose a lot of other things. So as far as how HaShem does what he does, to know how HaShem does, you have to be HaShem. There's no end. There's no end to the ways that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can bring a blessing to a person. I've seen it with my own life. I've seen it with countless other people's life. But I know that one thing is consistent among those that get the biggest blessings is they make the biggest sacrifice. And unfortunately, many times when people get a big blessing, they think this is the peak. They don't realize that if they continue doing the same thing they have been doing, meaning but just with more, the next blessing is 100 times more. 100 times more. So he gave you a blessing, and now you sold, and your house or your business or whatever it is, you made $500,000, and you've been giving Ma'aseh until now. Guess what? If you give Ma'aseh now, the next blessing could easily be $5, $10, $20, $30 million. But many times people don't get that. They think, oh, no, but listen, it was easy for me to give Maaser off of 10,000, but now to give Maaser off of 500,000, it's too much. Maybe I could give it in payments. Maybe I could distribute it among different places. Maybe this, maybe that. Who asked you to think? Did somebody ask you to think in order to make this big blessing? HaShem thought for you, and HaShem succeeded for you. But that's the problem. People fail the test of money. It's a very, very difficult test for people. Test of money. Chachamim say that the test of success with money is more difficult than the test of poverty, and for many people it is, depending how your Yetzer Hara is programmed. Any stories about people who overcome wasting seed in their success? Absolutely. People that all of the people that I just mentioned to you, for them to get the blessings, every single one of them, without exception, had to overcome the issues of immorality. Person that continues to waste seed cannot get the blessings because they're ruining them every day when they waste seed. If I'm in debt, is it proper to still give 20%? As long as you're able to service the debt, meaning that, let's say, for example, you own $20,000 to credit cards, but you don't have to pay the credit card or the loan or whatever it is completely this month. You have to pay them payments. Let's say you have to pay them, $1,000 a month. And your income allows you to pay that $1,000 a month and still have money left over. So sure, if you can give 20%, absolutely. But if the whole money is due, so it's either paying all of that money for debt or giving the 20%, then sure, you have to pay your debt first. But if the debt doesn't have to be paid completely and you could just continue servicing the debt, then by all means you should give. You should give. Rabbi, where are you located in Florida? In South Florida. Cooper City. Do you give 10% of gross or net? I give 20% of gross, if you're asking me. Or if you're asking in general what a person should do, they should also give at least 10% of gross. If they can give 20, then by all means. But as far as gross and net, gross meaning it's what you get in your hand. So if, let's say, you are a employee and the employer takes taxes out of your check, so your check, let's say, was supposed to be 1,000, but they took taxes out of it, so you really only got 600. So you give the 10 or 20% from that 600, not from 1,000, because you really only got in your hand 600. But if you are a contractor of some kind, or you get paid for that way, where they give you the $1,000 and it's up to you to pay whatever taxes you need to pay. So really you got 1,000 in your hand, then you need to give the 10 or 20% you choose out of the 1,000. So it's all about money. The questions they're asking is about money. Is the lecture about money? No, there's a lot of things that we discussed, but you just showed up right now, and you sound like you already know everything. So why are you even here? People that come here to learn. So Is a shul allowed to have a kiddush after davening inside the shul? If when they started the shul, they said it that they're also going to use the shul for that purpose as well, then there's no problem. But which is usually done. But if they did not, and this is only a place of prayer, then that wouldn't be ideal. But generally speaking, most places that open assume that they are going to have also a kiddush there. It's not a problem. As a teenager, is it a very bad idea to get a smartphone, or is it always bad to get an unfiltered smartphone? It all depends on how you're using the phone. A hammer can be a tool, it could also be a weapon. A knife can be a tool, it can be a weapon. A phone can be a tool, it can be a weapon. It depends on how you use it. Okay. Let's see. Rabbi, I have a question. Okay, ask. What's the question? What would you say is the number one thing that HaShem wants from us? He doesn't desire anything that's against your interest. Everything that he wants is for us, for our own best interest, and therefore, he says it in the parasha, to follow his laws. How do you cure depression? First, you have to identify that depression is not a physical disease, but rather it's a spiritual disease. The sicker a person is spiritually, the more they'll be depressed. In order for a person to cure themselves spiritually, they have to feed their neshama what the neshama wants. And the neshama wants closeness to Hashem. The neshama wants the truth of the Torah. The neshama wants the mitzvot. The more you feed yourself what the Torah says, by getting closer to Hashem, by loving Hashem, by following what He says, by learning more about Him, the more you will distance yourself from the sickness of the soul, which is also called depression. But all I do is daven and learn chesed, but I'm depressed. There's something wrong with your ashkafa and understanding of your role in life. So I would recommend that you watch our series called Bitachon BeHashem. It's about 16 or 17 lectures. People love the series. It's short and has a lot of tools that you can learn of how to apply to your life, and which will not only improve your prayer and learning, but will also improve your overall life. And you'll understand that you don't have any reason to be depressed, regardless of what you're going through. Once a person understands where they stand in life, what the purpose of life is, they realize that depression is from the Satan. And the more bitachon a person has, the more happy they become. How does one pivot from learning parasha twice a week and shiurim to start including Gemara with time being limited? Well, I mean, it depends how long they've been learning the parasha with shiurim, and depends where they stand. It's sometimes the more you learn, the more you realize you have more time than you think. So it depends. It depends on a person. It's a case-by-case basis. But generally speaking, it's usually you have to add some more time to it, or do more with less. Just depends. Depends on the schedule of a person. What is the opinion of the Jewish? What is the opinion on the descendants of Jews who were forcibly converted? Should they return to Judaism? If a person wants to be one of Hashem's chosen children, then certainly they will feel the need to return to Judaism, not just want. But if a person does not have that feeling, then no, they shouldn't. Rabbi, you're a great blessing to this generation, the generations. Rabbi, Nisi me again in ways. Thank you. Alvai. Can you be affected just by your surroundings, like in school with lefties and other things, even if you barely talk to anyone except a few select friends and keep away from others? Absolutely. The Rambam paskins l'halacha that a person will be affected by his surroundings with or without him wanting it, and therefore if he's in a city where there's only wicked people, he has to leave the city. And if there's no city that, the Rambam writes this, if there's no city that has righteous people, then he should go to the desert, live alone, in the middle of nowhere. But the point is that if he's going to be surrounded by wicked people only, then certainly he should change location. Every place has wicked people, but there's also places that also have righteous people. The Jews believe in the existence of the Prophet Muhammad. We know that Muhammad, a person named Muhammad, existed, but he was not a prophet, and he was actually a murderer. He murdered many Jews because we did not want to follow his foolishness. Explain how Jesus isn't the Messiah. Very simple. In order to be a Messiah, you have to be a righteous person. Jesus was not a righteous person. He was a wicked person. He violated the Torah. He turned himself into an idol. And the Gemara says that he's right now in Gehenom, in Tzoar Otachat, in boiling feces. In fact, even the Christian teachings say that Jesus is in Gehenom. So, in order to be the Messiah, the minimum requirement is to follow the ways of God and not pretend that you're God or part of God or some other form of idolatry. So, certainly he did not fulfill the role of what the Messiah is supposed to do. He was a very wicked person. He was a womanizer. He was a liar and a lot of other things. And if you actually watch my lectures that talks about Christianity, you'll see that there are literally endless proofs from the Christian text that the whole thing is falsehood, idol worship. How much is in your bank account? A different amount than it was yesterday, and most likely a different amount than what it's going to be tomorrow. What do Jews believe happens after death? You get judged. If you're righteous according to the Torah, you get judged favorably and you go to heaven, and you get eternal blessings and salvation. If you're wicked, then you get punished. How punished? Based on how wicked a person was in accordance to the Torah. If they were wicked but with certain limitations and they were more righteous than wicked, then their punishment will be limited. But if they were very wicked, idol worshiper, womanizer, people that did things that are abhorrent in the eyes of HaShem, then their punishment is forever. I have actually a whole film about Gehenom with over 170 sources from across the spectrums of the Torah, the Ren Torah, the Oral Torah, the Kabbalah, Chassidut, Shulchan Aruch, different Chachamim, Rishonim, Achronim, and in that film, you not only get to understand what happens after death to the wicked people, but you actually also get to see where it's actually written. I mean, what I said, over 170 sources, is only a scratch on the surface. There are literally thousands upon thousands of sources. But if we covered all the sources, the film, instead of being 3 hours, it would be, 3 million hours. all my family are pagans. How do I help them see the truth? I feel like I'm failing them. Well, the more you help yourself, the more righteous you become, the more you could lead by example. People want to follow success. So the primary focus should be on yourself, to not only improve yourself, to better yourself, to become a better person. So therefore they could see that you've changed. Not just hear that you changed, they could see that you've changed. You're happier, you're in better moods. And in so many words, you are becoming symbolic of success, of happiness, of joy. And the more you are that way, the more they're going to want to become like you, or at the very least, the more they want a guide that's like you, and they're going to ask you. But if you come to them just, I told you should do this, and I told you to do this, they're not going to listen to you, especially since it's your family. Is it possible to order one copy of Manus Friedman's book that came out? No, I'm sorry. I don't have that kind of time right now. I'm trying to distribute tens of thousands of copies. I can't handle also personal orders. But you can distribute. You could order a box and distribute the rest of them in your community. We're going to try to put them through a third party in the coming months for these individual sales for people that want only one copy, but I can't do it right this second. Right now, our primary focus is to mass distribution as fast as possible, to get this in every shul, in every Jewish community, in every place. And then, B'ezrat Hashem, hopefully along the way, we'll be able to put this other idea that we have, which is to have a third party actually sell the books individually for people that only want to get one copy. How does one bring along his wife to be more religious without being too pushy, so she doesn't feel forced if wife is a slightly lower level or religious? For the same advice that I told the person that's trying to help his family, the more righteous you become, the closer to HaShem you become, the more you become a better person. The more your wife will see that you are happier, that you're less moody, that you're more generous, that you have more compliments. And the better you become, the better she'll want to become. Not only because she's a reflection of you, but also because people see happiness. That's what they want. That's why people do most of what they do, because they think that's what's going to make them happy. Some people go after drugs, some people go after money, some people go after women, some people go after fame, because they think that's what's going to get them happiness. If she sees that you connecting to Hashem brought you happiness, you're always walking around with a smile, you're always under control, you don't lose yourself, then guess what? She's going to want to be like you. So she says, wait, so you're telling me that washing your hands in the morning and reading this book and watching this rabbi, that helped you get happy? Yes. I did other things, but that certainly is the way. Okay, I want to do it too. All right, let's do it together. And guess what? She'll want to do it together. But if a person is reading a lot more, watching a lot more, but is still nasty, is still cranky, is still miserable, is still depressed, is still stingy, still has horrible character traits, unfortunately, no one is going to want to learn from them. No one is going to want to be like them. And in fact, they're more likely to distance people from Hashem than to get them closer. So that's usually the problem with people that do tshuva and try to get their family closer, is they don't have any type of guidance. They try to do everything on their own. And usually they themselves are not as righteous as they think they are, and they don't succeed in helping others. And many times it causes problems. So it's important to get guidance. It's important to also know where a person stands. But like I said, the system of success is the more a person improves themselves, the more they're going to be an example that other people would want to follow. All right. I can talk in a synagogue all I want. Sure, you can do whatever you want, and you'll suffer the consequences for violating the Torah too. No one is going to put a gun to your head and tell you don't do it. You could do whatever you want. It's just that there's consequences for it. Just like somebody puts their finger in a electric socket, they can do it if they want. There's going to be consequences though. It's a sin for Jews to stay in physical galut. Only calamity befalls us. Then why are we continuing to do so? It's not a sin to stay in the exile. Many of Gedolei Israel lived in the exile throughout the last few thousand years. Moshe Rabbeinu never got to Israel. Is he a sinner? The Rambam didn't live in Israel. Is he a sinner? Many of Gedolei Israel, the entire Talmud Bavli was written in Bavel. All these sages were in Bavel, in Babylon, in Iraq. So no, there's no obligation to move to the land of Israel. That's not right according to any opinion. You can if you want to, but is tzedakah giving a skula for better parnasa? It can be, depending on how much you give and who you give to, when you give, why you give. Why do some Torah violators get a free pass? Because they're too established. No, nobody gets a free pass. Everyone eventually has to pay the bill. Now, sometimes it looks like a person gets a free pass because they're not punished right away, but eventually everybody pays the bill. There was I'll tell you two stories. There was a man that at the time of the Chafetz Chaim that threw out a widow and her kids out of the house in the middle of winter, and because she couldn't pay the rent, even though it was snowing, she had no place to go, he threw her in the streets. And he continued succeeding and making a lot of money, and everybody was baffled at how he did what he did. 20 years later, he was at the peak of his success and money and everything else, and all of a sudden one day, a dog bites him, a dog that had rabies, and this guy got rabies, and he died a painful, horrible, slow, and horrific death, to the point where the entire community was just amazed at what happened to this guy, his fall from grace. The Chafetz Chaim, when they asked the Chafetz Chaim about this, Chafetz Chaim said, I've been waiting 20 years to see what Hashem is going to do to him for what he did to that poor woman and her kids. Everybody has to pay the bill. There's different dates. Sometimes the credit card is due on the 1st of the month. Sometimes it's due on the 15th of the month. Sometimes you have a 6-month interest-free, you don't have to make any payments. Sometimes it's a loan where it matures like a bond, after a few years. Everybody has a different deal. Hashem makes sure that at the end, everybody pays the debt. Everybody, with no exceptions. Everybody pays the debt. There's no doubt in the world that these heretics will not leave this world without an embarrassment, public embarrassment, and complete destruction for everything that they built. Everything they built will be destroyed. Unless they do complete Teshuva, miraculously, but there's no doubt in the world. Why? Because the Torah promises that. The Mishnah in Masechet Avot says someone that desecrates Hashem's name in private, Hashem will punish him in public. Bring him shame in public. Needless to say, if he desecrates God's name in public, like bringing Christian missionaries to a shul and fighting for them, or saying things that are heretical on a regular basis, and preaching idolatry, every one of them will not leave this world without a complete destruction for everything that they did. No questions asked. So you look at one of the leaders of the reformers. Thought he was himself an Orthodox Jew, but he coined the phrase, be a Jew at home and like everybody else outside. And during his life, all of his kids, with the exception of one, converted to Christianity. He was an Orthodox Jew. But he was preaching freedom and modernization. All of his kids, with the exception of one, I think he had 7 or 8 kids, they went to idolatry. So there's no question about it. There's a story written from over 500 years ago, the time of the Arizal, but there was a book by Art Scroll, published almost 40 years ago, 1988, about the life of the Arizal. Fantastic book, highly recommended for whoever could find it. They don't sell it on Art Scroll anymore. And says in there that there was a Rabbi Chaim Vital, the Talmid of the Arizal, was one day learning with the Arizal, and somebody came calling, needing the help to a woman had a dibuk. There was a spirit that entered this woman, making horrible pain from suffering for this woman, voices coming out of her, all types of horrible things. And the Arizal sent Rabbi Chaim Vital to go take care of it. And he went there, and he saw that the woman is suffering, and then the voice coming out. And he asked, who are you? And he told him, it's a wicked person, did a lot of bad things, and suffering in Kafakela. He said, yeah, but this woman that you entered, she's a righteous woman. She's a righteous woman. Why are you bringing her so much suffering? He says, no, she's not as righteous as people think. Really, when any time there was the Pesach, they were doing the Agadah, and they were talking about Yetziat Mitzrayim, she would make fun of it in her mind. She didn't believe that Hashem took us out of Egypt and all the miracles. And in her mind, she always made fun of it and snickered at it. She didn't believe in the miracles. So the moment that I was given the chance, I was allowed to enter her and cause her endless suffering. Endless suffering. And Rabbi Chaim Vital asked the woman, is it true that you did all that? Do you believe that? No, I believe in Hashem. You promise you're always going to believe in Hashem? You believe in Yetziat Mitzrayim? I believe in everything. I'm sorry I ever did anything. I ever questioned anything. She begged. And Rabbi Chaim Vital commanded that Dibuk to leave. Forced him to leave. Kedusha is much more powerful than Tuma. Fast forward some time. Rabbi Chaim Vital is with the Arizal learning one night, and the Arizal tells him, tonight, stay with me, stay here. Don't go home. And Rabbi Chaim Vital says, no, Rabbi, I need to go home, I have family. Okay. He went, started walking home, and he went into the same road he goes every day, and he went into between two buildings, and all of a sudden he sees that there's a donkey without an owner chasing him down the hall. He couldn't get out of the way. The donkey ran over him and broke his arm and hurt him tremendously. suffering the whole night. The Arizal in the morning told the Talmidim, go get Rabbi Chaim Vital. Bring him here. They brought him. He says, I told you don't go home. I knew that someone was looking for you. And that's why I tried to get you to stay, but you didn't want to listen to me. He said, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't listen to you. I just thought it was you being I didn't know. I didn't know what happened. The Arizal says to him, there was a dibuk that you forced to leave a woman. And that dibuk was really angry at you for forcing him to leave her. And he wanted to take revenge against you. So he entered the donkey. And he got back at you by running you over. And then the Arizal touched the arm of Rabbi Chaim and healed it as if it was brand new. It wasn't broken anymore. These are stories of Chachmenu Zichronam Livracha, Kodesh Kodeshim. But the point that I'm trying to bring to you here is that everyone has an account. At some point, everybody pays the bill. Like I said, some people on the 1st of the month, some people on the 15th of the month, some people 6 months later, they have interest-free, they feel like they don't owe anything. Some people, it's after they graduate school, they feel like they don't owe anything. Some people have, what seems like a free account for 10, 20 years. But eventually, the whole balance comes due in a second. And it's impossible for them to withstand it without extraordinary pain. That woman thought that no one is listening to the thoughts in her mind as she was making fun of the Torah. Eventually he came. That wicked person that died is in Kafakela and into the woman and so on, the Dibuk, thought that no one's listening, no one's paying attention. Everybody pays the bill. Just today I saw headline, company that has been in business for over 40 years. They're called Wolf something. If you just type in Wolf, company Wolf, you'll see this company has been around for almost 40 years. And in the last 12 months, their business went from being a business that's for over 40 years worth billions and billions of dollars to they're most likely going to declare bankruptcy within the next 2 weeks. And the stock will be worth zero from being worth billions. How? Simple. They had multiple creditors that they borrowed money from. One of the creditors didn't want to be a creditor anymore. Wanted to change the deal. Said it's due now. Yeah, but that's not what we spoke about. That's not this, that's not that. Long story short, no other option unless the creditor decides to somehow feel bad for them or realize that they have a better interest in keeping this company solvent. Literally within a matter of days, this company went from being a multi-billion-dollar company. I think the stock was worth at some point maybe like, $80 a share or something like that. Today it was $1. If they don't have some type of miracle in the next couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, depending on how things are, all of the shareholders that bought the stock at 20 and at 30 and 50, and even the people that bought it at $2 or $1, all of them will get zero. Why? The debt came due. They thought they have another year, another 2 years, another 5 years, another 10 years. They thought, listen, we've been in business for a long time. Over 40 years of working, 40 years of selling, making billions of dollars, doing all types of things. They thought they had more time. HaShem decided, no more time. No more time. Same concept with all of these wicked people. Right now, Asham esacheket lahem. They look like they're winning. They think they have all the money in the world. They have all the power in the world. All fame in the world. Most popular rabbi on YouTube. Most popular rabbi in Right now it looks like they're winning. It looks like there's no debt. But there is. And the debt is growing by the second. And one day, that debt will all come due. Just like that. The massive destruction that they will face will make this company that I just told you about look like a success. The destruction of Manus and all of the others that followed suit, that went against HaShem, those we spoke about and those that we didn't, when their debt comes due, it's a destruction. With Manus, but people that are Machtia Rabim, that cause the public to sin, their destruction is going to be so massive, so horrific. You're going to hear the worst possible exposures in the world. The stuff that you would never imagine is going to come out. You're going to think that I was complimenting him all these years in comparison to the truth that's going to come out against him and all the others. You're going to think that we were nice to them with all of the criticism in comparison to what's coming. You're going to think that literally it's hell on earth. But that's just the beginning. Why? This world, there's going to be something because Hashem's name has to be sanctified. But in the next world, magnified by infinite amount of numbers, and you still won't even get to the first minute of suffering that they're going to have. Someone goes against Hashem is in a bad situation. Someone that leads others against Hashem, there's no one in the world worse than him. No one in the world worse than him. They're worse than Hitler. Their punishment will be worse than Hitler's, just so you know. Does the Torah say that Jews may not be in one country, they have to spread out in the world? No, we are allowed to be in one country, we are allowed to be in multiple countries, and actually in this week's parasha, Hashem says that a punishment that Am Yisrael got for not following the laws is that he's going to spread us all over the world. There's also a blessing that he's sending us through that as well, that we're going to be able to bring righteous people from other nations to join Am Yisrael as a result of it. It's also going to be a sort of protection for Am Yisrael from all of the anti-Semitism, where since we're spread out everywhere, even if there's anti-Semitism in one part of the world, Hashem's not going to allow them to ever destroy all of us. But the point of why we're not all in Israel is because we didn't follow the Torah to the level that we were supposed to, and therefore we got punished. We got spread out all over the world. But there's no obligation for us to be in one place. Is it true that Yom Kippur that falls on Shabbat atones for Chilul Hashem? Not according to the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, says that Chilul Hashem does not get atoned by Yom Kippur. Chilul Hashem, only thing that could help you is, aside from death, is Kiddush Hashem. The main shareholder backed out, and the other companies take the debt hit. No, that's not necessarily the case. The big problem that they have is not the shareholder. The big problem that they have is that they took one of the loans that they did was through this private credit that I told you guys about a few days ago, which is like a magnified version of cash advance. And this private credit is not like traditional bank loans. They have more control over the company, even though it's a loan. So therefore, when one of the shareholders wanted to renegotiate their deal, the company couldn't decide for themselves. They had to ask the debt holder, the private credit, and the private credit did not allow it. And therefore, as a result of it, they have to default. They have to declare bankruptcy. And the private credit company is not worried about getting their money back because they're the first creditor. They're above everybody else. The private credit terms that they had were horrific. But always know, in regards to investments, the debt holders are the real owners of the company, not the stockholders. Where can I donate? You could donate on our website, be'ezathashem.org. You could donate through YouTube. I believe there's some type of button that you could donate through there. You could go to our website and get the address over there, and you could send us a check. You could wire transfer. You could donate cryptocurrency. But there's a lot of different choices. If you go to our website, be'ezathashem.org, be'ezathashem.org, there is a lot of options. Okay, let me see. I'll take one more question, two at most. A dear friend of our family was Jewish, passed away last week, and a few days later my father passes away as well. When a Jewish person passes, he needs a rabbi who is more tzaddik to say the blessings, but what about Noahide when they pass away? They don't need a rabbi. No. The family can say a prayer for them or do good things for them, give tzedakah on their behalf, do mitzvot on their behalf. Did I miss? No, he's not set free. No, the setting, I'm not sure what you're asking, actually. Yeah, if there's a non-Jewish slave and he is set free, he becomes Jewish. Yeah. In fact, the Gemara says that Rabban Gamliel, he had a slave for many years, and to the point where this slave became a Talmid Chacham. And one day but he was still a slave. And one day they needed the minyan, and they couldn't count him because he was a slave. So Rabban Gamliel freed him. And the moment he freed him, he automatically became Jewish, and he was able to be counted in minyan. Yeah. Okay, Rabotai, Baruch Hashem. I think we've answered many questions. I think we've learned, Baruch Hashem, quite a lot. Thank you very much for learning with me. May Hashem bless each and every one of you that learned with me, that's supporting. Please go to the website, be'ezathashem.org, donate, support. Also get the books to distribute in your Jewish community, in the Jewish kosher supermarkets, Judaica stores, yeshivot, kollels, synagogues, to people directly in their hands. Get these books to people. They're literally going to warn them from what is clearly the biggest danger that's out there today in the religious world that people are simply unaware of. There are many dangers, but this heresy is literally Amalek itself. We've been fighting it for years, at least 6-7 years, and Baruch Hashem, we've saved many people from it, but it's unfortunately spreading like cancer. And this book can help people understand what cancer looks like and why it's cancer. And they could double check, and they'll have every single answer they could possibly imagine. No one that could read this will ever doubt that Manus is a heretic again. It's as simple, it's as clear as day. It's like looking into the sky and knowing what, yes, the book is in Hebrew. I understand people want it in English. HaShem, to print in English is one of our ideas one day to do, but we need more money and more resources to do it. It costs a lot of money to translate, costs a lot of money to edit, costs a lot of money to print. Baruch Hashem, there's a couple of sponsors that were partners in this book. They're both mentioned in the beginning of the book. Two very, very precious, actually one is a family, one is an individual, and precious neshamot. The merit that they have, I'm jealous of them. Just put it that way. Somebody that understands the merit that somebody's going to have for being a sponsor of this partner in this book. Some people are smart. Some people are smart. Baruch Hashem. Bezrat Hashem, everybody becomes smart. Thank you very much for learning with me. Bezrat Hashem, you guys have a successful week in learning Torah, in doing mitzvot, and serving Hashem, and making Him king over you at all times. Kol tu b'chava tzlacha.
I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend. We did it. AI Rabbi is here. It's an AI model that is based on kosher Torah sources, 30 different languages that are available to you. So if you want to ask it in Spanish, in Chinese, Portuguese, whatever you want to do, it's available for you. Can you tell me about Rabbi Akiva? So it's timestamped to the shiur. You press this green button, AI Rabbi on your WhatsApp. You'll have the ability to ask questions at will. You'll be provided sources, and most importantly, you'll be able to know the truth and be able to rely on the sources.